Welcome back to Community Crossfire. I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver. Have a special guest on today that needs no introduction because everybody in the state knows, but I'm going to allow him to introduce himself and your title.
Jim Baker, retired actually, so I don't have a title anymore. But I, was mayor of the city of Wilmington for a little while.
Okay. Jim, just have a couple of things couple of questions I wanted to ask you. First, I'd like to have your opinion on the Bridge campus that's going to come down the street. I hear mixed emotions. Some people talked about the wage loss, and they just have various questions. Yeah, somebody said
what wage loss?
They was just saying we're going to lose money if the city gives them the $10 million. What's your opinion on this whole project?
Oh, I think it's absolutely critical that we have it. I don't know why people can't understand economics. They think they do, but they don't. First of all, you have all those students coming in who will be spending money in the city of Wilmington. Some of them will even move and live in the city of Wilmington. You got the staff people. I don't understand about losing the wage tax because the staff people are coming in and they're professionals. They'll be paying the wage tax like everybody else. Then you've got 2 vacant buildings occupied with schools. And people don't understand why Philadelphia does so well, New York does so well. It's not just because they got a lot of people living there. It's because they got a lot of students, thousands of students every day. You look at Penn, you look at the Temple, you got all those colleges in Philadelphia, and they keep that city alive. They go to the clubs at night, they spend their money, or their parents' money, most likely.
Right.
But anyways, they spend their money in that city. A lot of them live in the city. Once they come to that college, they live there. So why would you not want that? And what is the investment? The city always has to make investments in big projects like this. There's nothing wrong with it. They should do it because it's enhancing the city. In the long run, it's making it an educational center. Think of it. Now you have a nursing school. You have Widener, the law school. You have the University of Delaware in the city. You have Delaware State in the city. You have Delaware Community and Technical College in the city. Educational center, that's what you're building here. So it's a very important project and it's worth the investment. In the long run, the city gains. All the people that don't like it, who cares what they don't like?
Okay. I know
That's the
someone
way
was
I feel
was
about
at the meeting, said, well, they spending $10 million on that, but they won't do this. And I'm like, this is a special fund. This is a special fund.
The city of Wilmington doesn't have, like Philadelphia, New York, they have taxing freedom. Wilmington does not. You can't raise your wage tax. You can't create new taxes without the General Assembly approving it. You're stuck where you're at because the General Assembly prohibited Wilmington from automatically being able to annex territory. So now you have to have the county's approval. It has to be right on the adjacent line of the city boundary. And all of those things have to happen before you can annex a little piece of property. And by now, to annex would be almost, you're not gaining anything out of it. So by cutting the ability of the city to have real home rule, they've neutered the city into this geographical boundaries.
The state.
The state has done it. It is all political.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with reality. It's dumb people playing politics.
Okay.
Because here is the golden calf, Wilmington, that pays all that money to the state through all these corporations, these big buildings and all that other stuff, to the state on a constant basis, and yet Wilmington as a government is neutered. And so you guys on council and the mayor have to deal differently on how you look at projects. We brought in AAA. That was a big deal. Look at AAA down on the waterfront now today.
Right.
We got hundreds of employees and all of that. Look at MBNA when they moved in. And when Mayor Sills was mayor, MBNA moved in. And we had a big building down there, and they owned all those buildings. That's two of the buildings they once owned.
And I mean, and like you said, I mean, they've been vacant for 15 years, so I'm just excited to see
Yeah.
them get occupied.
Council should pass it. They should be very happy to
Oh,
pass
we
it.
are. Most of us are
The
very
council member for the area, I'm very proud of what she's done, and
Mm-hmm.
she should continue to do it. You can't build a city by being dumb.
happy. Okay.
And you got enough dumb people. I mean, come on. You got to invest in your city.
And this is a darn good investment.
It's a real good one because you're putting people here on an active basis, and will it help the economy? It help the city on the wage tax? I don't know where that loss of wage tax. That's foolishness. But like I say, dumb people always. You can always count on dumb people because they always got a mouth and they always got to say.
I can't hold it in.
And they don't know what they're talking about,
Right,
but
right.
they yak all the time
Right.
about what's not being done, what should be done. If the city of Wilmington could end poverty today, they would do it in a heartbeat. If we could end all vacant houses, bad housing, we'd do it in a heartbeat. Those things, jobs for everybody, do it in a heartbeat. If we
Right.
could do all those things, but you can't.
That's right. That's right.
That's
They're
just
realistic,
reality.
yeah. And one thing I wanted to say, we cannot make a policy based on the impact of the city transaction on schools and county taxes.
No.
We just can't.
No.
And I think that was one of the things somebody said, oh, what about the school and county? Something. But I'm like,
That's got nothing to do
that has
with
no,
nothing.
that's not, we don't
It's
have
got
anything
nothing
to do with this, nothing.
Well, not only that, it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
These are colleges. They are not Red Clay
Uh-huh.
and Christina and all of that. That's not where the level they're at.
Right.
So they have nothing to do with the school taxing.
Well, like you said, people just talking.
People are stupid.
Okay.
You got to play. Remember, don't.
But you're right. I mean, you know,
when
it's
you
a
got
hard
when
job.
you have when you have to govern, you govern.
Okay.
You don't let stupid, idiotic, dumb people because they think they know everything and what they know you should be doing. But here's the big point: they don't have to make the decisions.
Yeah, that's a
They
good,
don't have to watch people try to make a living, and you're trying to help build up the city so that they can have opportunities which they couldn't have before. And here you got dummies talking about, well, put them all on welfare or do something stupid.
all free water.
That's not going to help the city. The city it's a great project, should be done. It's going to help the city. We tried to get Widener in when I was mayor, and she wanted to come in, but they couldn't make it work.
Okay.
So it's a great project.
And
Ed.
Longwood,
And
everybody's
if I
on
was
board.
mayor, they wouldn't have to worry about it. You ain't going to tell me we can't do it or we shouldn't do it, because we have to. I mean, I don't know where these people come. They come out of the woodwork every time something good is going to happen.
Every time it's something
and
they
they
just
got
want
a
to stop.
reason why not to
Yeah,
do it.
they like to stop progress, you know.
No, they don't see it that way. They see it that you're not putting the money here. You should put the money there rather than here because this is needed over here. Well, that's true.
Well, briefly, what do you think about the marijuana? It's already legalized through the state. So
right.
what the state has given us the opportunity to do is say, well, within 100 feet from the school here, it may be 3 dispensaries,
Right.
but
It's
we
like
have
the liquor stores.
So-
They do the same thing with the liquor stores.
Okay. And people going to smoke, right? We're not going to get maybe 1 or 2 dispensaries. People are acting like they're going to be placed just on every corner.
No,
And that's
they're not. They're not
real.
marijuana hoochie places where everybody goes and lays around smoking. And, you know,
This is a business. I mean,
it's a
you know,
business.
Yeah. It's a
And
dispensary.
I think you got to look at the reality of society as it is, and you got to do something about the drugs. The war on drugs failed and has failed because all we're doing is putting people in jail. And it's like when they tried to stop liquor from being sold in the United States. What happened? Criminality went this way up, legality went down because then they controlled liquor while the government was talking about you can't produce it. Now we're saying all drugs can't be da. And we got this cartels all over the place, people making gazillions of dollars off of this business of drugs. And we're not knowing how to handle it. And we're certainly not stopping it.
Right.
And, it's like when they were in Afghanistan. Afghanistan was the biggest poppy growing country probably in the world. And we didn't stop it when we did all this stuff to take over Afghanistan and stop. That wasn't the main purpose of stopping drugs, but still, it stopped the poppies from being grown, but it just transferred to another place.
I mean, I'm in favor of it. What about the 250th anniversary celebration coming up next year?
Well, it's a big deal.
What do you think about that?
Well, so the city should celebrate like the state is going to celebrate. All the states are going to celebrate. Cities already have set up their commissions to study on what they can do to celebrate the 250. It's like when we celebrated the bicentennial in
that
76.
Was big. That was big.
It was big. It's the same thing, except it's the 250th.
Okay, because that bicentennial, my aunt had to order this, or I could just see all these little coins. She was excited.
Again,
same thing.
You get the same attitude about people who don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand history. They haven't read anything, but they think they have. They read a little book or somebody tells them something and they know everything. It's like the issue of Caesar Rodney, who rode from Dover to Philadelphia.
They was determined not to let that go back up.
But you see, it wasn't about replacing the statue or anything else. It was to do the study, because he was the one that went to Philadelphia and signed, making the Constitution, making the United States, and making Delaware the first state of the Union. That's a big deal. It wasn't about his issue of slavery. But we could talk for years about Washington and Jefferson, about Jackson, about all of the former presidents and people that had slaves.
Okay.
But that's not the issue here. The issue is celebrating the creation of the United States and all its history. That means from day one when the United States started all the way down to today. So you put together a commission, and that commission then decides, how do we celebrate it in the historical context? How do we celebrate it in the business or in the community or in the religious?
So we're going to do a big celebration.
Well, remember, Delaware is the center of the creation of African-American religious freedom. Richard Allen was born in Delaware. Epson Jones, Bishop Jones, was born in Delaware, created a church. And then you got Peter Spencer, who was the first to form a denomination in 1813. Richard Allen didn't do his until 1816. So the first person to create an African-American religious denomination was Peter Spencer here in Delaware.
Right there,
and then the second was Richard Allen, who was in Philadelphia at the time, but was born in Delaware. So you're supposed to celebrate. Next year will be the 60th year of the 26 will be the 60th year
And we're going to do that.
of the 1965 Voters' Rights Act. Big deal. It'll be the 61st year of the 64, which is even a bigger issue. People don't realize they celebrate 65 more than they celebrate 64. 64 is more important. It is the bill that made us citizens of the United States. A lot of people don't realize that, because we weren't treated as citizens of the United States until after the 1964 Civil Rights Bill was passed. Then they had to pass the 65 and the 68 on housing. All of this stuff we can celebrate. There's no reason for whatever your color, whatever your political background, and whether you're conservative or liberal or whatever, or crazy.
It's history.
You can celebrate.
You say even if you're crazy.
Right. We have enough crazy people, so let them celebrate too.
What's your thoughts about Wilmington? I think it looks good. I see you ride around.
Well, the Cheney Polling Group has done a great job for this downtown area. I know they get beat up on about gentrification. They have not once taken an area where people live, kicked them out, and changed it. They've always had a vacant building or vacant lot that they've built on, and now we got people living in. We need about 10,000 people living in downtown Wilmington.
It's starting to come in.
It's starting to come,
You can see
because
it
when I
picking
come
up.
downtown now in the evening, used to be nobody down there but me half the time.
Right.
But now you see people, young people,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the young people anymore don't want to live and cut grass, drive
Yeah.
miles to
Condos
work.
is a big thing now.
That's right. So, yes, Wilmington is coming along, but you need a vision, and you need to celebrate your city. You need to understand, yes, we got problems. We always will have problems. But if we keep working at it, we can improve it. That's what city government can do. People, you're at the lower level.
Yeah.
There's the U.S. government,
Yeah.
there's the state government,
We're at the
there's
bottom of the
county government, then there's city government. Everybody acts like the city is up the top, got all this money, can do whatever. You know, you got to be dumb to believe that. You're just stupid.
Yeah.
That's not where it's at. And for the cities to survive, because you can't annex, you've got to make it work within the boundaries that you have.
What would you say city councils, three priorities city council's job?
Do what?
What is 3 priorities for city council members? The budget? 3
Priorities are,
to be a city council person.
oh,
3 priorities.
first of all, you got to understand the city government.
Mm-hmm.
You are responsible for people's lives, dead, born, in between. Because you have to provide, for example, all the services that people need in a collective sense, like policing, fire, planning your city, having the laws of the city. All of that is a governmental function, and that is the city that does that. But you also have a utility called water and sewer. They're separate from the general government, so you can't cross-mingle money. A lot of people think you can do. You can't. This is a utility. You got to make sure you're providing clear, good, safe water to the people, because you got 140,000 customers. Sewer, you probably got just about every customer living in the city. The Newcastle County, because we're the major sewer operator in Newcastle County.
Well, we have
So all of that
clean water.
is responsibility of city council. You have to understand the environment. You have to understand policing. You got one of the best fire departments in the country. Actually, a lot of people don't know that, but it is
I looked it up.
very
I
good.
believe when you told me.
And like we were talking about the Health Planning Council, which you now are interested in, that's important, because we had Christina, we had St. Francis, we had Henrietta Johnson, Westside Health, and citizens all working together, communicating to citizens about how to be healthier. We had health festivals in the neighborhood. We had a major one in Rodney Square every year. I think it was in September we would have it, September or late August or early September. But anyway, those kind of things, your beautification commission, people see that, oh, what's that got to do, tree huggers?
Oh, they love it.
But it teaches children about the environment, about planting, about trees, take all of the gook out of the air and produces oxygen for us. You know, the big forests in South America and certain parts of the world, if we didn't have them today, we wouldn't be able to breathe.
Right. But they just
Because of
planted
their
some more
enormity.
trees in Kirkwood Street Park in Prices. I told them, please do.
Yeah.
Center Horticulture. Do
So,
part of the beautification
I mean,
project.
all of these things make the city better.
Right.
It is not about being able to conquer all of the ills of society. You're not going to be able to do that, but you can peck at it. That's
Right.
the best you can do, is take this, do something about it, but make people feel that we're all in this together. We're all working for the better cause or the common good of everybody. And that's what city council's job is, to understand budget. How do you understand budget? You got to understand bonding for the capital use. You got to understand the general fund. And you got to understand the federal monies that come in, state monies that come in,
It's a lot.
private
People think
monies
this is
that
an
come
easy
in.
job, and it's not.
I keep telling you, you're finally understanding. I
It
said,
takes about 3 terms. I'm like, this is a lot.
this is a tough job.
It really
And you
is.
got to learn a lot in
The-
very short periods of time. And people can play games with you, but you know there's limitations on what the city can or
can't do
cannot do,
everything.
and there should be. And the other thing is that, yes, we all recognize the problems. There's nothing secret about the problems that
Yeah.
we have in our society.
Yeah, right around, you see.
But sooner or later, it's just like here we had an epidemic and we didn't even have a health planning council. Duh.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, council. You guys got to start thinking about.
Yeah, we putting it together now. So
That's what I
good.
mean.
And people
You
always
guys
say-
have to work together because it takes 7 votes of council. It's not a secret.
No.
You
But I
got to
think
work with
overall-
the mayor.
overall, we're
It's
doing
not a
pretty good.
secret. You got to
Catching
work
on, we're catching on.
in your communities. It's not a secret. None of this is secret. But you do have to understand the technical parts of operating a city.
With Mayor Baker's always a pleasure having you on. Hopefully we'll have you on 2 more weeks, and whenever we have the next big project that's
That everybody wants to argue about.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you back on. We'll be right back with Community Crossfire. Thank you.
You got to pay back. Revenge. Revenge.
Good evening. Welcome back to Community Crossfire. Here with a gentleman. I'm going to allow him to give his name and your title.
Anthony Massey. I'm with Social Legacy Partners. I'm the COO, and we are a cannabis consulting firm that help businesses from seed to sale.
So I know it's a big meeting, and we're asking individuals to come out next Wednesday at the next Tuesday. The date would be Monday the 20th. That would be the 22nd. It's a hearing in the city county building regarding the canvassing of retail stores. You know, I don't know if everybody knows, but the marijuana has been legalized through the state of Delaware, so we can't unlegalize it, right? It's been legalized in Dover. I just heard on TV where the vice president, hopefully soon to be president, is just want to make it legalized all over the country. I was impressed that the gentleman, the mayor of Maryland, put in a piece of legislation to release individuals who were incarcerated for marijuana. So one way or another, people gonna smoke it, eat it, whatever they do with it. And I don't think people should be in prison for a little bit of marijuana.
Absolutely.
So right now, the big issue is that it went from 100 feet to 300 feet, right? And when they changed it, amended it, because I was there, but I left because they said it was just a general meeting, a conversation. It was no action was going to be taken. Yeah. And when I left, somebody moved a motion, a board member, to extend it to 300 feet, which would really put it most of it in Newcastle, Delaware. I don't think I know we're not going to have, because this stretches out throughout the state. So Wilmington is not going to have 5 retail stores, right? But we hope to have 1 or 2. What's the difference in the 100 feet to the 300 feet, based on your observation?
Well, based off my observation, first off, there's only so much commercial space in the city, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you think about a country mile, you know, that's places like Sussex County or Kent County, you've got a little more space to operate. Mm-hmm. Here, it's compacted, especially in the city, Trolley Square area, off of Market Street. Think about it, that extra 200 feet makes a huge difference. Mm-hmm. The whole intent, you know, of this social equity program is to provide, you know, have some type
of just a little bit. I'm sorry, speak up just a little bit, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the whole intent of the social equity program, is to be able to provide opportunities for people to succeed in this industry. A lot of folks are already at a disadvantage in the social equity program, mainly because, number one, finances.
How much does it cost to get in the game, roughly?
Roughly, if you're looking at retail, anywhere between going from retail to manufacturing, realistically between about $500,000 to maybe between $1 and $3 million.
Wow.
Depending on the build out, yeah. But aside from that, the operational experience, that's another area where we need to strengthen. But this 100-foot to 300-foot increase is just gonna really kill the opportunities for the social equity applicants.
And when you say social equity, are you saying minorities? Or not necessarily?
It's combined.
It's combined.
So yeah, so it's outside of minorities as well. Anyone that has been affected by the war on drugs.
I
So
got you. Yeah,
you got charges or people or family members that have had charges. You're still a social equity applicant regardless of your race.
What amazed me when I went to, I've been to about 3 or 4 of them, and the one guy from California was there, and he was like, "Are you in zip code 19802?"
Yeah.
You know, he's like, "Look, I'm looking for a person like you." I'm like, I didn't know what he was talking about. And he explained that, look, I have the money. I just need you to be in a certain area.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So you got people coming from, this is a big business, The time he's coming from California, trying to find people to open up a retail store.
Yeah.
But I think it's only fair that we have 1 or 2 of them in the city of Wilmington. I don't know why. We're the largest city. We've been impacted the most, Black and brown people, Hispanics, by not given the opportunity of being in prison, for small charges of marijuana.
Sure.
So, the war on drugs, it's unfortunate. What are some of your, are people allowed to hang outside these dispensaries?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Right.
No. Most of the dispensaries that you see, especially that are heavily regulated, they operate like a pharmacy or any type of retail store, upstanding retail store. I encourage everyone, to go visit, a dispensary, just to see, the aesthetics, to see the type of people that come in. A lot of these people that come in have disposable income.
Right.
They're able to afford, these prices for the cannabis products, whether that be the flower or the edibles. They don't have to go and get it off the street in the illicit market. And also having more retail stores available really helps detract from the illicit market, because really that's the whole point, right?
Right.
We want to be able to, we need these people to convert from the legacy market over to the legal market.
Right, from all these illegal trafficking and cartels, whatever.
Yeah.
But instead of getting locked up, use some of that money and get involved with one of these retail stores.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize until I was up on Sullivan's. It's one right up 202.
Yeah.
Right across from Sullivan's, up in that area, and I'm up there. I go up there sometimes, go shopping at Target or the grocery store, etc. Or Infinity. I think I'm the one still paying for cable, but someone said on the phone, it's right across the street, and I rode up, but I didn't stop, and I'm like, who knew?
Yeah.
But you don't see people you wouldn't even have known it.
No.
Nobody's out there. I guess they go in there with their medical card. I'm in favor of it, so it can stop individuals who are putting illegal drugs and marijuana, causing people to have to go to detox or fall out, or you have to bring them back with the Narcan. So people think it's just about drugs with the Narcans. No, they are lacing this marijuana with embalming fluid, fentanyl, horse tranquilizers. So if it's a way that it can be legalized and monitored, where it's not all this illegal stuff going on. I have friends, children I know, didn't make it because they brought something illegal off the street. So like I said, this is going to cut into that,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's really important that, for the social equity side, that we have to make this work. You think about it. There's 125 licenses that are going to be provided.
How many is 125 licenses?
Yeah.
And that's throughout the state?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's split up between cultivation, retail, manufacturing, and testing. So out of that 100,
What is the cultivation part?
cultivation is growing. So you're growing the flower.
And what is the other? I mean, everybody. I know what you're talking about. Everybody, and the other part.
Yeah. So manufacturing is where you would, you'd be making your edibles or your pre-rolls or what have you. The testing is for the testing of the flower or the edible products to make sure they're compliant with the state.
Yeah, and the state comes in and
And the state has, Delaware has the most stringent requirements, testing requirements in the country.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's a good thing though. I mean, if I need flour, I'd prefer to have it tested to know that there aren't pesticides in it. They test for metals, heavy metals, things like that.
Really?
Delaware, it has to be grown organically, which I love about the state. They're doing a lot of great things.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and we are one
In
of
comparison to other states.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely. But again, there's some things that we need to work on. Like I mentioned, 125 of these licenses are going toward, I'm sorry, it's total, 125 total, but 47 of those are allocated toward social equity. So you think, those are 47 folks that, we need this to work, because it can't just work on,
One side.
2/3 of these these licenses and these companies operating. We still have, these.
I mean, I must say it was a lot of Caucasians in the room.
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause
Yeah.
this is a big business,
Yeah.
And that was another thing that I was a little disappointed in. I'm like, look, you see all these people here? They know this is a business, and the social equity piece is here, and now you have people that's trying to block it and it's not going to be out of 47 social applications. That doesn't mean that it's all going to be people who look like you and I that's going to receive these applications,
Correct.
because they based on it, not just social and color, it's other things involved there.
Yeah.
And how many of these applications will be approved in the city of Wilmington, do you know?
Offhand, I don't, I apologize, but Newcastle County, Wilmington area, this is where the majority of the licenses are, obviously based
Newcastle.
on based on population. But again, I look at this as a horse race.
Okay.
Where the horses are all in the stables and they're ready to go. There's some horses that are still in the barn that didn't qualify, right?
Okay.
But it's a long game. So do you want to be in the in the stall waiting for them, to shoot the gun and say go? And it's a matter of positioning right now. So
Okay.
what I have found, because I've been to New York, I've been to Virginia, California, a lot of these states that have gone legal, adult use. And what I found is that, like you said, a lot of people don't look like us. And it's just a play position at that point. Okay, how do I determine how I can get my portion, and then it trickles down?
Yeah, but most people suffered from that bill, from that drug war, look like you and I.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm just saying that I'm in favor of it. If, you can have one of us or two of us to get in this position. The war on drugs disproportionately harm Black and brown communities, and many social applications come from these communities, right?
Yeah.
So you have some people, I don't want in my community. I'm like, look, you got fentanyl in your community, because it's all over. I mean, I work in that arena. You have liquor stores on every corner.
Every corner.
In your community. And then you hear something about some marijuana. I mean, I don't smoke it. I mean, but I have, in life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't did it in years, but I would like for people, somebody has cancer, or somebody who just wants to get some marijuana and it's clean, I want them to go in the store. I don't want a friend to call me and somebody's daughter didn't overdose because it's fentanyl marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like the 80s. I mean, this is not the 60s, 70s, 2024.
Yeah.
Like Mary Jim Baker just said, look, at one point, liquor stores weren't illegal, but you couldn't stop it. So marijuana, get over it. You know, that's just my opinion. I can't speak for everybody else. The increase, the buffer would limit the ability to participate in the canvassing industry, undetermined efforts to address historical justice. What do you say about that?
Well, I've got charges, I've got out-of-state charges for possession.
So you've lived through this system.
Yeah, we've got to find a way to make it right.
Right.
It sounds good that these states are saying, hey, we're going to provide you an opportunity, those of you that have been convicted or harmed by the war on drugs. But that's kind of where it stops. It gets silent after that from what I've seen. And we really need people to really put the work in to make it right. If you're going to say, okay, we're going to help with this injustice, then provide us with the opportunities to really make that happen.
They talk, but do it. Be about it.
Yeah. And it's failed. In a few states. New York is a good example. They righted the ship, but they're a good example where they were supposed to set aside a certain amount of money to help their social equity applicants. They not at first. Not at first. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They were still trying to raise funds when they put that.
Because it's legalized in Portland, Vegas. All over, right?
Yeah. And there's been other cities where it's been trial and error. Some of the ones that have actually really put the money in and the focus on education, business operations. A lot of these people. Here's the thing: I get a license. Now what? It's $1,000 in Delaware, which is awesome. But you get the condition, and it's a conditional license. But in order to get your permanent license, you still got to submit, your complete business plan, all your SOPs, your pro formas. So after that, there is no price break. You're paying regular prices, and people need help with that. And
now let me ask you. Sorry to cut you off. Is there a telephone number or email if somebody wanted to ask you any questions about
Absolutely.
it? Please give them your email.
Sure. You can reach me at Social Legacy Partners. It's A Massey, AMASSEY, at sociallegacypartners.com. You can go to our website at www.sociallegacypartners.com. Or you can even reach me directly, 215-888-8758. Again, 215-888-8758. And I'm Anthony Massey, again, the COO of Social Legacy Partners, your go-to cannabis consulting firm.
Okay, what's some of the misconceptions about this canvassing dispensary?
That's going to attract a lot of unwanted attention.
Okay.
That's really what it is. You think about how many bars and like you said, there's a liquor store earlier. There's a liquor store on every corner, but somehow they're still able to operate.
That's right.
Right. It just comes down to a power play. Who's going to get paid first, and who's going to have control over the market? That's just what I'm seeing. I've been doing this going on 7 years now.
Okay.
In this market, so it's all about the power play.
Well, I've done a little research. Research from cities like Denver, Seattle shows that well-regulated dispensaries do not increase crime rates or lower poverty values.
Correct.
Modern dispensaries, canvases are highly regulated and operated similar to pharmacies and upscale retail stores.
Sure, yeah, and that's important, right? Because we all want a clean product. I don't like, when I used to smoke.
Right, exactly.
I didn't, we bought up the street because that's the way it was. And one thing I've learned is that, white people sell to white people, black people sell to black people. Puerto Ricans, they sell to everybody sells to their own race. And we have to be in a position now where we can get everybody in the same room, try to figure out how we can make this work, because we need to work for Delaware.
Exactly.
We're competing with Maryland. We're competing with Jersey. I hear...
And they already have everything.
Absolutely. And I hear all the time.
We the first state and always the last state.
Yeah. And I hear all the time from people that are saying, I'm like, well, where do you get your product? Oh, man, I go to Jersey or I go to Maryland. And we already have dispensaries here. And I'm like, okay, so how do we fix that to keep it here? But again, in order to do that, in the future, social equity is going to have to work. And this this 300-foot thing is just, it's really going to hinder.
It's ridiculous.
The whole intent of the social equity program, again, was to help us, not harm us.
Right.
For sure.
So Wilmington could experience a similar benefit of if canvassing businesses are allowed to establish themselves under reasonable zoning regulations.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're not going to have 5 or 6 retail stores in Wilmington.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
So you're lucky if you get 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. As I stated before, Anthony, talking to you in the past, I think we deserve something in the city of Wilmington.
I believe so too. It's going to help the economy. I mean, you think of tax dollars, job opportunities for folks that need it. You know, and this is our industry anyway, right? So so let's take these people that are in the illicit market, train them up so everybody can be legal and it benefits everyone.
Yeah, I totally agree. So hopefully everyone will come out to the meeting. We have a meeting next Tuesday and Wednesday. Spread the word. Tuesday we have a commission meeting. So we need as many people to show up as possible right in the city building. And that's Tuesday. And that's the 22nd. And the 23rd, it's Councilwoman Maria Cabrera. She is the chair of that committee, and her meeting is Wednesday. So if you want to come out and support this piece of legislation, we need to see you in the chambers. Don't talk about it, be about it. And I appreciate you coming on to talk about.
And can I add one thing? I'm sorry.
Okay, please.
Yeah, you mentioned the dates, the 22nd and the 23rd, and it's really important because we need folks now because the licensed lottery. The lottery is on 10/24 at 9 a.m. So I'm glad that this is happening before licenses are issued. So again, let's get everybody out here to support so we can not have this 200-foot increase, and we can have some businesses that actually can do business, companies that can do business in Delaware.
The 200 increased fee is ridiculous and it's sad that we've already been punished, right?
Yeah.
Black and brown people in our communities, and now we're being punished again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never enough, for some folks. I mean, and it's sad that racism still exists, and it's not going anywhere.
No.
We are imperfect people trying to judge other imperfect people. But thanks, Anthony, for coming on, and you do have my support for this piece of legislation, for it to return back to the 100-foot buffer for canvassing retail stores in the city of Wilmington.
And thank you. I appreciate all the support you've given me.
Of course. Thanks again. We'll see you right back with Community Crossfire.
You got to pay back. Revenge.
Good evening. Welcome back to Community Crossfire. I have a councilwoman on here. No need for introduction, as everybody in the state of Delaware knows who she is, but I'm going to allow her to tell her your name and title.
I am Maria Cabrera. I am the City Councilwoman at Large, President Pro Tem. I'm also the Chair of the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee meeting, since that's going to come up in the conversation. And just wanted to quickly say thank you to everyone who did come out to vote in September for the primary. I thank you for your votes and for keeping me in office during the primary. And don't forget to vote November 5th.
I'm glad you mentioned that, so we're going to come back to November the 5th. So Maria, tell me, what's your opinion on this canvassing retail stores and the 300 and the 100 buffer? What is your thoughts on this?
Okay, well, as the chair of the committee, it is going to come before me, and I am the sponsor of the legislation. Of course, Councilman Johnson and yourself and others have come on board as sponsors. So when I look at the maps, it's really about educating yourself about the spaces. Honestly, for the city of Wilmington, we really shouldn't even have a buffer because we're such a dense city that the way that the legislation is being presented, first of all, the dispensaries can only be in a commercial zone. So when you look at a commercial zone and with those areas, and then it says it cannot be within 100 feet of a residence or a school, which was the original legislation before the zoning committee and the planning commission. And then that got changed to 300. I thought that it was very random, the way that the number was thrown out there without even looking or evaluating the map. So now that we look at the 300-foot buffer, it basically eliminates most of the city of Wilmington, keeping it to the downtown area and the riverfront, which was actually what someone came in to speak about having it downtown. And I agree, downtown's already congested. I think it should be closer to, the perimeters where the ingress and the egress of the city is, where people can come in and come out. And I feel that first it should be 100 buffer so that there's more areas, even though it's still very limited with 100. I think that the city of Wilmington should not be eliminated from the process because of these drastic and almost prohibition laws if we were to put this in place. So, but you know where the fear is coming from? Fear of the unknown. Councilwoman Oliver. I don't think it's that people are like, no. It's just that they don't understand. They think that a dispensary is going to be very similar to the problems that we have with the corner liquor stores, which I really wish the legislation was as strict for the liquor stores as it is for the dispensary. The dispensaries that I have seen pictures of that were sent to us, and I have seen others out of state, are run professionally. They actually look like a medical walk-in clinic. I have been driving past one every day to work and never knew that it was there. Went looking for it, couldn't find it until I saw it in the picture. I was staring right at it. I buy food at the Greek store right next to it at 202 and Naaman's Road. I go to the diner, never ever knew that it was there. There's no people hanging outside. There was plenty of parking. Folks come in, they're out. It is not that kind of a gathering. You're not allowed to stand outside. You're not allowed to smoke.
They lose their license.
Exactly. They would lose their license. It's very strict. And Delaware, I understand from your former guest, is one of the strictest when it comes to regulations, when it comes to testing. And I think that Wilmington, being the city with the most density and that probably suffered the most from the marijuana prohibition, how could we take this opportunity away to have available something that is legal? Because it's here, it's legal. So, however you feel about it, doesn't matter. It is here, it's not going anywhere. And just imagine back in the day, in the 20s, when, alcohol wasn't legal and the prohibition, everything that went around that. But the problem that we do have with illegal drugs is that there's no control. There's no testing. We don't know what's in it. And we've seen so many people that have been harmed and killed by fentanyl-laced marijuana, something that shouldn't even be dangerous. And we may not put the drug dealers out of business completely, but we're certainly going to put a dent in their business. Because if you can walk to the dispensary and get your marijuana legally, know that it's clean, that it's not laced with any bad stuff, and you can pick the strain that you want, whether you want something that just calms you down, you're able to go to work and function, or you need something to help you sleep. And it's not just about buying the flower or the bud. There's pain creams. There's ointments, there's edibles, there's oils. So there's so many therapeutic benefits.
There's all kinds of stuff.
Exactly. I think of the seniors in Wilmington who don't necessarily have transportation, and maybe they couldn't afford to get the medical marijuana license. Now this gives them an opportunity to go to a dispensary, get something that they need, an ointment, an oil, something that could help them with their pain, instead of the legal drug dealing that we do in the United States through the pharmaceutical companies.
I think I mentioned it to Anthony. A lady who has cancer. She's not the only one who has cancer, but it helps cancer patients. As you stated,
it helps stress, it helps pain management.
Yes, pain management. They use it a lot. So now people have marijuana cards. In every district, this fentanyl is killing us in our community. We're no stranger. We've been to funerals of people who've died from it. So now we have an opportunity to make marijuana legal and make sure it's clean for people, however they get it, eatables, edibles.
It's legal. What we're trying to do is making sure that the city of Wilmington is not kept out of the equation. First, let's talk about some facts. There's only 14 retail licenses available to Newcastle County. There was 2 for cultivation, 2 for manufacturing. You've already explained what that means. Only 5 people applied for a total of those 4 licenses. So that means that 2 were automatically chosen for the 1 license and 2 out of 3 will be chosen for the next one. So there's no lottery there. The lottery begins on the 24th. So when those people, the 14 people are chosen in Newcastle County, they have from the tip of Claymont, the northern part of Delaware, to the northern part of Smyrna to pick a location. If 2 or 3 open up in Wilmington, we'd be lucky to get them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Look, they're going down Middletown, Smyrna. We're just trying to get in the game, right? People I talk to, excuse me, they don't want to come to no community that doesn't want them. You think they don't prefer to go to Middletown, as busy as it is down there? Odessa, Merle. I'm just saying, not Merle, but I'm just saying.
Well, if you make it inaccessible, people are going to walk to the nearest dealer to get their product instead of being able to walk to a dispensary where it's safe. And I believe from looking at the map, the areas that we're looking at, they are commercial zone. The locations that are there, there's parking, you can't face the residents. So there's a lot of rules and parameters around this. So the most important thing is we need people to first become educated about it. Please visit a dispensary, see what it's like. Don't have these negative perceptions
What day are we going
because
to the
of that.
dispensary?
Well, I'm hoping that you ladies would be available to come tomorrow Thursday before the council meeting.
Okay.
That way we could just go take a look and then go right on to council. Because I think that if some of my council members that are hesitant, they saw how the dispensaries are being ran. And I understand as a district council member, you have to represent your district and what they want. But quite honestly, is at large, I have to look at the whole picture, all of the city, and I can't, I got to be fair in judgment on the things that I do. And I don't think that it's a fair process to judge something that you don't know.
If you never
it's
went.
fear
That's
of
true.
the unknown. So let's make educated decisions by doing our investigations and hearing, because you don't hear of issues or problems around dispensaries. Most people don't even know that they're there unless they know that they.
Let me tell you,
go there.
excuse me, I didn't know the one up 202 was there. I was at Sullivan's.
Right across.
I'm going right across. Went up there to eat. Someone mentioned about the marijuana bill and said, "What are dispensaries like?" And I'm like, "Where?" I mean, I didn't go, but I could see it. I'm like, you didn't see people standing. And that's in a nice bougie area, and nobody's up there hanging out. People probably going there with their little marijuana card.
I go right next door to the Greek place. Did not even know that it was there. I didn't know what it was. AT&T is in that same shopping center, was there as well. The whole time it was there, I never even knew that it was a dispensary.
Let me tell you another place I didn't know, and I was just down there. My cousin was coming back from 13, driving back. The last Wawa down there, all the way down 13, when you come back, or should I say on your way, when you're going down 40 and 13 split, or go down 13, it's like a crab place right to the right. You can go up there right before you get to the bait store. It's a dispensary there. I go and look. I didn't even pay it any attention.
There are medical dispensaries.
Medical
Actually, there's
dispensary.
one downtown. I didn't realize that 210 Delaware Avenue, there's a medical office, an actual doctor that practices, and people come up to see him, and it is a dispensary. They're very well run, they're very professional, very clean. They all have guards. So the way that it works is, because I've only been to one, and I was visiting out of curiosity. So this was in Springfield, Massachusetts. You get buzzed in. First of all, you can't just walk in. You get buzzed in. Then you get stopped with the guard. They run your license through the system, because you can only purchase, I think, in Delaware, 1 ounce per day. And in all those places, they have limitations of what you can purchase. But first, they got to make sure that you're of age. And here in Delaware, that you have your medical marijuana card. So it's very strict, first of all, to get in. Now you go into the actual store, and they have what they call a bud tender. And then you tell them what it is that you're looking for, what you need, and someone helps you. It was a store. It was so big. But yet there was only like half a dozen people in there, and I went in with my friend out of curiosity, was picking up some stuff. And I said, look, I want to join you and check it out, because I've never been. And here in New Jersey, I know that there's, it's legalized, but I've never seen the recreational ones other than the one in Massachusetts. So the first thing I would like people is to dispel this myth that you have unsavory characters coming around to dispensaries, and that they're going to hang out and smoke like they hang out and drink outside the liquor stores like it's a cafe.
Right.
The person would lose their license, and there's just too much money at stake.
Too much,
And when we were talking about equity, the social equity, the money that is generated from these dispensaries, a portion of that, well, what they pay, those taxes goes after you pay all the expenses, the people who run things. It goes into a fund where the General Assembly, and this is when we lobby our assembly people to put monies into the communities that were most adversely affected by the prohibition of the marijuana laws. And Wilmington is one of them. I just feel that we'll be ready to take with hands out to take that money, but yet we want to prohibit having dispensaries in our very city. We stand to gain in the sense that you have jobs that are being created, the wage tax that people pay, and then the fees for registering their business. Now, we don't get taxes from the proceeds of that. That's understandably. But we do get it back with the social equity contract that they have.
Right.
And I think that this is an opportunity, as you mentioned, for people of color, for minorities to get in the game. Why should it be someone else, again, making money off the backs of our community?
Yeah, I mean, I said it before.
The owners should look like the community.
Yeah, Hispanics and blacks have, suffered from this drug war, and I think it's disappointing that we are not benefiting from the individuals who are still currently in jail for small, that big 3 strikes you out, you get caught with some marijuana and some other stuff, laws that they, created to keep us down. This whole system is still messed up. But I want to give you kudos for, taking the charge, and not being afraid to discuss this and have a conversation, and you're out there. That's why people like you. That's why people vote for you. Vote for Maria, November the 5th. Vote for Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver, November 5th. I still have a write-in, then, that's a whole nother story. But my name is still on there, so I want to still mention
there's a saying that I learned long ago, stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And sometimes you do have to take on the difficult issues. And I'm friends with a lot of people, and there's some folks that are very against and some folks that are for. I've only gotten 3 emails and 1 call, and I had a respectful conversation with that person. They're worried that people would go somewhere else to make purchases if there was a dispensary in or about where his business is located. And I just don't believe that would be the case. I would believe that some of their customers would probably be purchasing if they knew that it was there.
Well, I mean,
we just shouldn't be biased.
No, that's what I was going to say. To piggyback off what you said, we shouldn't be biased. And now that you said that, I've only received 1 call, and the call I received, they were like, when is it coming to my community? Because I don't want my son, who smokes every now and then, going to the corners. And he has a good job. I don't want him to possibly get arrested for just buying a little marijuana. So that call was excellent. I said, well,
and the risk of the added drugs, because you don't know what you're getting or where it's coming from. I think what's important is for people to speak up. They should come to that zoning, the ZBA, which is the Zoning Board and Planning Commission meeting, which is going to be held on Tuesday at 6 p.m. in the City County building. And I do believe it's being moved to the chambers, because it's a lot of people are going to come out. I don't believe the 7th floor conference room where they normally have their meetings is going to be able to hold.
We just want to tell them it's Tuesday.
Folks. But it's Tuesday at 6 p.m. Come, the guard will let you know if it's going to be in the chambers or if you have to go elsewhere. Then my committee meeting, Community Development and Urban Planning, is on Wednesday at 5 p.m. You come in, you can, after we have the discussion among our council members and we speak, then we turn it over to the audience. You can speak. Please submit letters. If you cannot come, then submit a letter to the Zoning Board Commission. Contact either one of us. The City Council office will make sure it gets into the right hands. It is on the website, because this is one that you don't want to sit on. If you do have an opinion, give it. And if you're not sure and you're unsettled and you have this fear, then come so that you can learn. Because at my committee meeting, Commissioner Coop, which used to be the superintendent of the state police, who is the person in charge of this mission of the Marijuana Commission, he is going to give a full presentation. He'll be there to answer questions.
He's a good guy.
And yes, he is. And I hope that he will put people's minds at ease, most of all, our colleagues and any others that are worried about this. And our colleagues should be thinking about their communities and who they represent and what those folks want. And I understand some people might be opposed, but please also do your due diligence so that you can give them factual information
That's right.
To hear someone say, that marijuana smoke carries 300 feet. What does that matter? They're not allowed to smoke in front of the dispensary,
Right.
and it's going to be 100,
300
feet from the,
wow, that's a lot.
the schools. I'm okay with it being 300 feet
of
away from the
course.
schools.
Yeah, it's not going to be around the schools. It's already in the
Here's another
legislation.
thing. It put into perspective, because a lot of people, when you hear this 100 feet, well, that's not that far, 300 feet. 300 feet is the distance of a football field. So imagine how big a football field is. That's 300 feet. Where in Wilmington do we have commercial areas that would have the distance of a football field before there's a residence, when there's residents everywhere?
Right. Now, one thing I like to let the audience know, if you just want to write in a letter, you can send it to E.T. Larson, LARKINS, at wilmingtonde.gov. That's E.T. Larson,
Larkin.
yeah, LARKINS, right? And just write something simple. We are in support of A-24 resolution amended to 100 buffer. Just say you're in support of the 100 buffer.
Yeah, even if they don't have the number, we're in support of 100 buffer for the medical, for the
And
dispensaries,
if you
marijuana
don't get a
dispensaries.
chance to email it, when you come up there, come early, bring it in. It'll be submitted and for the record.
And Zoom, people can
Yeah.
can attend via Zoom, and people on Zoom will be called upon to give comment. But again, we would love to see your beautiful faces.
That's
But
right.
if you cannot make it or you're traveling, please call in. Zanthia, I also wanted to mention that Ayana from the Delaware Black Chamber of Commerce wrote an excellent letter stating all the facts, and there was so many pictures of different dispensaries to really try to dispel some of the myths around
like
this. This is going to be far more stricter and is far more regulated than alcohol, folks. And when we really look at alcohol versus marijuana, when you look at how many deaths and all the troubles that occur around alcohol, the facts are there and they don't lie. There is definitely more documented issues and problems, accidents, fights, things that happen that are alcohol related than there are with marijuana. The
alcohol
percentage
is
is
the worst.
it's huge, it's vast.
I'm disagreeing. I mean, like I said, I'm a yes vote. You don't have to worry about me. I think it's important to put down all them sponsors when it goes in there, so the commission can see that you do have people that's supporting this. Excuse me. Go ahead, talk.
So folks, remember, the most important thing is come out, get some information, be educated about it. I know that some of the people that are adverse to it are kind of an older population who aren't sure, unclear. Those that have not experienced the benefits of having, using something, a THC product. There are gummies, there's oils, there's capsules that people can take for pain, as you would any other vitamin or any other capsule that a doctor would give you.
It's even some stuff you could put in, like your drink in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all kind of
things like that, teas.
Yeah.
I know that I have some of the pain cream, and I would put that on my joints, and it really does help my aches and pains, and so much better than taking ibuprofen, which is messing up my stomach.
Right.
So you're going to find that there's a variety of people. I think folks also have that opinion, oh, it's just a bunch of young people going out there and doing this and that. First of all, in Delaware, you have to be 21 to purchase. Unlike, alcohol, alcohol,
Right.
you have to be
21.
21 as well. So you cannot, go into the dispensary. You have to show an ID. You can't do double purchases. You can't send someone in with your ID, because that's why they put it and scan it through the machine.
And as
so that way they have it on
Anthony
record.
just said, Wilmington has some of the stricter rules, but I do want to correct, it's going to be on the screen. The email would be ETLARKIN. It's not an S. At wilmingtonde.gov. At wilmingtonde.gov. That is the gentleman, Mr. Larkin, who has taken over Jeff Starkey's position. You would send that email to.
Commissioner of Land Use.
Hopefully we would just see you at the meeting on Tuesday. Malik, I need to see you at the meeting on Tuesday. And I need to see the meeting on Wednesday.
And Wednesday's where you're going to get the bulk of the information about the dispensaries and how they run. But on Tuesday, we want the zoning board to reconsider the 300-foot buffer to 100. We will have printed maps, 2x3 printed maps. So if you want to see those maps, you can see them while you're there. and where they're located. And again, the entrance of the dispensary cannot face the residential area or residents.
No, it won't be. I mean, they're not coming in residential. They're not coming near schools. Some of this, it's just, like Jim Baker said, just people just like to talk. He said I don't
It's
wanna
the fear
call it-
factor.
It's the fear factor. But I'm glad you came on. Vote for Councilwoman Maria Cabrera. What's the date? November.
November 5th is the general election. Folks, look, the turnout for the primary was dismal. And it doesn't say a whole lot about us as a
No,
city.
I don't-
When we're the poorest city, we have the most demands when we ask for things from the state and other
gotta
places
wind
and resources that we need. So come on, folks in the city, you got to come out and vote. And remember, the president is on the ballot, and we cannot take any chances. We need Kamala in there. We need to shatter that
That's
glass
right.
ceiling.
Thank you. But I'm glad you mentioned that. I've mentioned it week after week. We had the lowest turnout in history for a primary, and that's really sad. But that tells you something about this Democratic Party. This is my opinion. Where's the enthusiasm? I mean, even this is a presidential election. Why aren't we pumped up? Why don't I see her signs?
Her headquarters are right here in
Her
Wilmington.
headquarters is right here in Wilmington, and nobody's burping the horn. You don't see no stickers of it. I mean, I just think it's ridiculous that we are the first state. That's why we chose to do a video. Please look on our page and look at the video that Councilwoman Maria and myself created today to encourage people to get out the vote. Have a good day, and we will see you next
Tuesday and Wednesday. of
Tuesday
next
and
week.
Wednesday, and we'll be back
Be
with
there.
Crossfire.
I'm mad.